Conducted during the birth and early childhood years of the Tougaloo Nine participants, this exhaustive study lays out in striking detail the world they were entering, a world where everything seemed stacked against them, from limited access to schools, to jobs, to social and economic opportunity. An American Dilemma relentlessly points out how the reality of African American life stood in stark contrast to the nation's democratic ideals of equality and justice. And it was the majority race that Myrtle was holding accountable. The Negro problem is a white man's problem, Myrtle bluntly states at the start. Practically all the economic, social, and political power is held by whites. The Negroes do not have by far anything approaching a tenth of the things worth having in America. The solution, he claimed, was simple, though admittedly its implementation would be fraught. America needed to start living up to its high ideals. From the point of view of the American creed, the status accorded to the Negro in America represents nothing more and nothing less than a century-long lag of public morals, Myrtle declared. The Negro in America has not yet been given the elemental civil and political rights of formal democracy, including a fair opportunity to earn his living. And this anachronism constitutes the contemporary problem both to Negroes and to whites. If those rights were respected, many other pressing social problems would, of course, remain, but there would no longer be a Negro problem. Myrtle believed that this fundamental disconnect between America's stated lofty values and its failure to implement them fully was creating a crisis of conscience that would inevitably lead to a dramatic change of course. Indeed, Myrtle's thorough analysis presages all of the nation's progress on civil rights during the next quarter century. One can even hear echoes of Myrtle and Martin Luther King Jr.'s 1963 March on Washington speech nearly 20 years later. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, just as King would later do. Myrtle points out the huge divide between America's stated beliefs and its lagging execution, and that century-long lag is one of the themes of this book. The contrast between the state of Mississippi's stuck-in-the-past celebration of its mythic Confederate heritage versus the Tougaloo Nine's insistence that it was time to instead for the state, and by inference, the nation, to turn the page and start a new chapter. After complimenting Americans for their extraordinary form of government and the way that every American seems to have imbibed the country's originating ethos, Myrtle gets down to the business at hand. He spends 11 chapters in a section called Economics, his specialty, demonstrating how America's black citizens are getting a raw deal. By every measure, African Americans are not just being left out, but they are forcibly being kept out of achieving anything close to the American dream. He tackles topics such as Negro poverty, economic exploitation, discrimination in public service, and the self-perpetuating color bar.